Point and shoot cameras have an obvious flaw. They can't capture the depth of field. They attempt to make everything perfectly in focus, and while these trees and rocks are gorgeous in the background, they're distracting from the focal point of the image, which is the child. High-end camera, one with changeable lenses, can actually focus on the foreground, blurring out the background to make the subject more compelling. Civil going to do is apply a filter to the background in order to make it look as if this was taken with a high-end camera. In this image, I have a selection saved for you. So I'll go to Select Load Selection and is a channel called Child. I'll click OK, and before I want to run this effect in the background and make sure I can edit it, if I run all the pros and the background looks too blurry or too artificial, I misstep that. Or if I was too cautious and the blur is too subtle, I want to be able to increase it later after closing the 5. So I'll go to the Filter menu and convert for Smart Filters. Click OK, and it lets me know that it's converting this layer to a smart object. This icon in the lower right corner indicates it is protected original version of the image. Inside Slader, I'll double-click on the layer name and name it does not layer 0. I hate seeing that. And then I'll select the innovators. The child was selected, but I'll apply this effect, the background, after selecting the inverse of Choose Filter Blur, Gauzy and Blur, and you can see I've got a nice subtle effect that I can increase the make very artificial or decrease and make a bit more subtle. In fact, the marching ants, the selection lines, can be distracting. See, you can choose View Extras to hide those edges, to play with your causing blur settings without the distraction of those long. I'm happy with this. Click OK, and here I can click the eye icon next to causing blur to see before and after. A very important note about smart objects. There is a bug bite on the child's head, and I'd like to fix that because of distracting. If I try to go to my favorite patch tool and make a selection and track to new skin, it can warn me I have to rasterize the smart objects I could edit by causing blur. Do you want to do that? No, I don't. So I'm going to hit cancel, and it's telling me I can't use the patch tool. That's okay. I will deselect and double-click the smart object. By double-clicking the smart object, you get to that in-decade original image, which is how they got the blur filter to the editable. So I'll click OK. And here's the original protected photo. Because of the smart object, that blur isn't ever permanently applied. But my goal is to take this bug bite, selected, drag to new skin, and it's removed. I could do a little bit more cleanup if I so choose. Leave them all, because very often people who are in the color correction or photo retouching industry don't realize what is a blemish or skin imperfection versus what is a molar Biddy Martin should be there. So I know that should be there. I could see men with Control+ or Command+ and 2 other common retouching tasks like going to the dodge tool and lightening exposure a little bit and making my precious size about the size of his eyes and just lightening effect. C could actually see the eye color because the eyes are cast in shadow. It is difficult to see them, and I am just dodging the little. You make the eyes more alive or more awake. Often I like to do Command 0, Control 0, and check myself to make sure I haven't gone too far. But that creates a nice little glint into this Layer 0 PSP is the embedded smart object, and click the close box. And yes, I'll save or permanently commit to these changes. Here is my updated original, or actually my updated version, and I can hit Control Z or Command Z before and after. Before, bug bite, and the eyes are kind of dark. After, perfect skin, and now there's a little light glint in the eye too. This video should have shown you how to make artificial depth of field focusing on the subject of the photo and blurring out the distracting yet beautiful background just because us seeing this picturesque doesn't mean you want everything. And focus human and make sure that you're correcting your images thoughtfully to convey the message that the subject of this photo was the child. Sync is causing blur, and smart filters are trying on a few of your own images, and you'll have the look of a high-end photo route cards us of the device that it came from.